Hello and happy Sunday. Welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I'm Eva Maria, your Sunday co-host, and this week's topic is numerology. I have some notes with me to kind of keep me on track, to kind of keep my thoughts together. And with that all said, let's begin. Sorry, my hair's tangled. With that said, let's begin. Before I even go into my own interpretations and understandings and thoughts in regard to numerology, I would like to say that numerology, it is a deep subject and it is a deep field of study. The interpretations and associations that you find either in books or online or that people tell you will vary, and I think the reason why is that numerology is a very personal thing. Anything that requires interpretation really is very personal, and therefore I am of the mindset that when you are seeking to interpret things, it's best not to rely solely on the writings or ideas or interpretations of others, because how you feel about something that will come to you as a sign, what it means to you will be different from what it may mean to someone else. You know, they may feel a different way about that particular symbolic thing, be it a number or be it an image or what have you. And this is also why I tend to tell people, you know, with things like, for example, dreams, like just don't even bother with dream dictionaries, because somebody else can't tell you what your higher mind, higher self, higher consciousness is trying to bring to your awareness. And symbols will mean different things for yourself. They will not necessarily, there's no way to sum up something symbolic for everybody. It's not one size fits all. And I feel the same way even about things like tarot as well, with the books, you know, the book meanings. I just feel like you really need to get in touch with yourself, your feelings, your associations, your interpretations, your understandings. That's the best way to go. That aside, what is numerology even useful for? Well, I find that numerology can be helpful, for example, in the case of cartomancy. It can enrich your interpretations of the tarot, but especially with playing cards. Numerology can really, really help a lot, being that there's not as much of a depth of imagery there in playing cards. But numerology can come into play in all forms of divination, really. Because usually, in some way, shape, or form, numbers will come into play. And again, in that sort of same vein, I feel that numerology is useful in dream interpretation. Because again, things come up, numbers come up, you know, things associated with numbers come up. So that can help you there. And that's kind of similar to the whole divinatory line of thinking that I have, that numerology helps with deciphering signs, symbols, omens, things that come to you. And that can even be applied in the respect of synchronistic sign interpretation. Synchronistic signs are these like little coincidences that will occur. For example, you may see a reoccurring number, or you may see a reoccurring symbol, or you may come across something that like is just constant. Like maybe you know, you'll keep finding dimes, or like, you know, maybe you'll keep seeing like praying mantises or whatever. That's synchronicity. But sometimes numbers will come into play with synchronicities, and therefore numerology can also help there. So I guess in the case of what I said, you know, with cartomancy, divination, you know, dream interpretation, and synchronicity, in a sense, numerology, understanding numerology to some degree, helps to understand the messages that, you know, that are around us, that come to us, that are there as guides that, if we have an understanding of numerology, maybe we can understand a little more about the signs that we receive, whether they be in dreams, synchronistic messages, or even just, in the interpretation of divination. So that's why numerology is really useful to have some understanding of. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about what I associate with each number, how I look at each number. This is not to say that I have it all figured out or this is the right way, because again, what I associate with the numbers, you may not. The first thing I do want to say is that for the most part, I tend to see odd numbers as yang, like male polarity associative, for the most part. And I tend to see, for the most part, even numbers as yin female polarity. But that's not always true, because in the case of multiples of 3, I tend to see multiples of 3 to be yin associative and therefore female. So there are like exceptions. And with that said, let me tell you a little bit about what I associate with each number. When it comes to numerology, I really focus more on numbers 1 through 9, because I feel that 10, when it's reduced, it just goes right back to 1. So I focus on numbers 1 to 9, and then I look at also 11 or multiples of 11. Excuse me. Now, the number 1 I associate with the self, unity, beginnings, divinity. And the reason why I associate it with divinity is because I see it as symbolic of the great all. Like, all is one. The number 2, I sort of visualize the number 2 as the Roman numeral 2. And to me, this appears to be a gateway. 2 pillars marking an open gateway, an open passage. So I see that as like almost like a road opening number, or a number associated with an open road. Excuse me again. I also see 2 as symbolic of duality, companionship, partnership, and cooperation. Now, where 3 is concerned, I see 3 as symbolic of sacredness. It's a lunar number to me. I associate it with the fates or destiny as well. 4, I visualize 4 as being very stable, like a table standing on 4 sturdy legs. And it's number 4 to me is a very earthy, grounded number because it's so very stable. Now, whereas 5 is concerned, I do want to make one comment. I noticed in Rhiannon's video, she associated 5 with sexuality and like that kind of stuff. And that's interesting, actually. That makes a lot of sense, and I'll tell you why. 5 in Santeria is Oshun's number, and Oshun, she is the Orisha that is very associated with love, among other things. Love, romance, sexuality, that kind of stuff. So that's just something I just wanted to throw in there. I just wanted to say, that made a lot of sense that Rhiannon actually had that association. Now, as for my association with 5, I see 5 as a mercurial number. I see 5 very much in the realm of air, mind, thought, creativity, that kind of stuff. Communication as well. But I also see it as a number that I associate with drawing things in, pulling things in, attracting things. Being that it has that mercurial association, I see it as like attractive, kind of like how, the color orange and like Wednesday, like a very attracting kind of associations as well related to Mercury. So, yes. So there's that. 5. Now let's move on to 6. 6 being a multiple of 3, I also see associated with the sacred feminine. I see it as lunar and earthy. 6 takes on sort of the meaning of 3 and 2 combined. It's kind of like a fated or sacred opening of the way, like a blessing. So 6 I see as a very blessed number. Moving right along, 7 I see as a fortune number, usually associated with good fortune. I also see 7 as symbolic of things that are significant or important. And I also associate 7 with intuitive or psychic related things. As for 8, I see 8 as associative of infinity. Things that last. And the reason why is because I see the number 8 as, how the infinity sign, it looks like an 8 on its side. Well, I visualize that kind of when I think of the number 8. Therefore, I think of like eternity or lasting, longevity. I also see 8 as a very Saturnian number, which, Saturn tends to be all about darkness, but not like evil. It's more of like, number 8 to me is more of like a crone number. And then 9, I also see 9 as sacred, but I see 9 as like very sacred. Because 9 is 3 times 3. So that's pretty much as sacred as it gets. Excuse me, I have this stubborn cough. Let me just take a sip of my coffee. Oh, so much better. The reason why I was saying like 9 being 3 times 3, it's like as sacred as it gets. It's, a multiple of 3, therefore also associative with the divine feminine, due to its, sort of lunar quality. And 9 also has a feeling of wisdom for me. I kind of associate 9 with sort of deep insights, deep understandings. Sort of lore or like the knowings of very sacred, historical, rooted origins, if that makes any sense. Now, as for 11 and multiples of 11, I see, again, now 11 is, again, just like the Roman numeral 2, it's 2 posts marking an open way. And I see 11 or multiples of 11 as associative with mastery. The road open before you. And also when you look at multiples of 11, I think it's important to look at not just the symbolism of an open road, but then what exactly is that number? Like if it's 33, you might want to look at, okay, the road is open before you, but it's 11 times 3, so then, it's an open road related to sacredness, lunar associations, the fates or destiny, so maybe this is like a spiritual or a destiny, destiny-related opening of your road, like an opening that is meant to happen, or an opening of a spiritual nature. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at multiples of 11, look at the 11 being that open road and that mastery and that like really important, like, you're going to be able to make progress here, and then look at the number that 11 is multiplied by to see in regard to what. That's how I sort of look at it. So those are my associations with the numbers themselves. And again, I have to say, I think it's important to really get to know numbers for yourself. Trust your intuition in regard to numbers. Trust your feelings. Trust how, I mentioned in a few cases that I visualize numbers being a certain way. Like I see 2 as the Roman numeral 2, or I see the 11, and these are like pillars marking a gate. And I see, like 8 as like the infinity. Like, trust if you have a sort of picture in your head of what this number is about, kind of trust that. And while it's good to look at what other people kind of associate with numbers, don't look at other interpretations as the be-all, end-all of what those numbers mean. Because everybody's different. So what one person interprets a number as being associative with, that may not necessarily be true for you. So these are my thoughts about numerology. I wish I could really keep going, but I don't want to ramble, and I think I've said pretty much I've mentioned all the points of note that I really wanted to touch upon. What numerology is good for, what I associate with the numbers, and the fact that I think it's very personal, and you should really come to know numbers for yourself. So with that said, if you have any thoughts, feelings, uh, anything at all, that you want to, bring forth, please put them in the comment box. Any suggestions, anything at all, please put them in the comment box, and I'll try to address those as best as I can. And finally, I'd like to wish you blessed be and ashe. I'd like to wish you a great Sunday, and till next time, take care. Bye-bye.